National anthem has been sung on the final home game of 2022. As the Evansville Otters finish off this three-game set with the Florence Y'alls. Another good afternoon to you. I'm Matthew Will. Preston Leinenbach joining me here on the air. Our good friend Bill McEwen not able to make it today. Still feeling a little bit under the weather. Our thoughts are with him. And hopefully in a couple weeks' time, the Otters are here hosting a playoff game, and Bill's right back in this seat next to me, calling some Otters baseball. As for right now, I want to let you know first that Evansville Otters baseball on the Otters Digital Network is presented by Working Distributors Evansville. To the mound we go and introduce you to the starter tonight for Evansville, Justin Watlin. Watlin has had an incredible season thus far, despite having to miss a few weeks due to some injuries. Earlier here in August, came right back into the lineup nicely and has pitched very well. In both the time you and I have got to watch Justin Watlin, it's just been nonstop consistency from him. You know exactly what you're going to get every single day, and that's a special thing to have.
Yes, because not only in terms of maybe the win or the strikeouts, but you're going to get innings out of him. You know you're not going to have to maybe rely on the bullpen too early in the game, and that you're going to get him to go deep, give your team a chance, and really just been a great pickup for this squad this year.
And Justin Watlin leads this team with two separate complete games, one of which you and I called together there on the road at Gateway. It was actually with Brody Tanksley that he did it. Brody Tanksley and Justin Watlin have worked a lot of games together this year, and because of that, their chemistry is some of the best on this entire squad, and hopefully that is proven once again today.
And if I recall, that was maybe Tankley's first start actually behind the dish, that Gateway, because I know Dak had mentioned to us how he had kind of had an extended conversation with Tanksley just to kind of help him kind of calm the nerves going into that start. It ended up being a great performance on both sides of the battery in that Gateway start, and of course it's come a long way since.
So it is Watlin on the mound, Tanksley behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. First batter for the Florence Y'alls today, Luke Harper, the catcher. First pitch to him comes in for a called strike one at 12:33, and we are underway. 0-1 home, stays outside to even our count up. Watlin and Tanksley have a 3-1 battery record together this season. They've gone 42 2/3 innings as a pairing. In that time, they have only given up 14 earned runs on 26 hits. In those 40-plus innings, they have 33 strikeouts together and have a 2.83 combined ERA. Ball pushed out towards Rosario and left. He's working back towards the warning track, and it gets over his glove and into the wall. Harper will walk into second, and he's got himself a leadoff double. Rosario made a good run towards that, but just a half step short.
Yeah, a good effort by Rosario. Got there, of course. You add his speed to what's already a pretty quick outfield, and really just missed it by maybe a half a glove.
That's got to be one that both Watlin and Rosario throw back into the back of the mind and move forward with, is now you work into some of the really strong bats in this Y'alls lineup. Alberti Chavez, Brendan Price, Ray Zuber, the next three due up. Heavy wind blowing out towards left field, pretty much coming straight out of the south today. First pitch to Chavez. It's pushed to the right side, through for a base hit. Picked up by Mcnamee. They will keep the man at third. Back-to-back hits have put runners on the corners here to start off.
Coming out aggressive against Justin Watlin, and obviously he has a pretty good fastball. And now him and Tanksley get together to kind of discuss maybe tweaking the game plan a little bit with the aggressive start here by the Freedom. Of course, you have Price coming up to the dish, and we saw last night an outstanding battle at the plate between Price, the batter, and Jake Polancic late in the game. I mean, that was probably one of the best mano-a-mano individual battles we have seen this season. And Polancic went right at him with the fastball. I don't even think he threw a single off-speed breaking ball pitch in that at-bat. Challenged the big man for Florence.
First pitch to Price is a called strike. And, I mean, even today, we were still up here talking about just how gutsy an effort that was. It showed that Jake Polancic really is, and as you shouldn't be, not scared of a single batter in this league. He went right at the guy. Ball hit on the ground towards Armstrong. He'll go to second for one, and they will not have a second play. Ball came out of the glove, but they are saying that it wasn't out at second. It's a RBI fielder's choice for Brennan Price.
Ball came out. It was going to be a tough play to turn to as that ball was hit very deep towards short, right at Armstrong, but he's playing kind of a little bit further back. And, of course, Davis is playing toward the pull side for Price, so he's a little bit off second base and lost it on the transfer. So they do get one out of it.
Brings up Ray Zuber, a hard-hitting lefty. Do want to give you a walk through the Otters' defensive alignment. A little bit different than we've seen recently. Rosario, Baez, Mcnamee, left to right across the outfield. Tanner Craig plays third, Andy Armstrong at short, Davis at second, and Biermann at first. An off day for George Khalil, which has sparked a couple of changes throughout the infield. Tanksley's manning things behind the plate. Phillips stays in the lineup. He'll be the DH. We'll dig more into that in the bottom half of the first. 1 ball, no strikes for Ray Zuber with a man on first and 1 out here in the top half of the first inning. Ball comes in for ball 2 on the outside.
Yeah, so you don't have Gordon manning center field today. He's getting the day off initially, of course, going against Villalobos, the lefty for Florence, so it makes sense in terms of matchups. But Dakota Phillips, with the way he's been able to return to the lineup the last couple games in a big way, moves up in the order for the Otters.
And I tell you what, now this starting 5 for Evansville, especially in their starting 9, which we'll, of course, talk more about in the home half. Rosario, Biermann, Davis, Phillips, Mcnamee. I mean, that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 punch right at you to start the day off. If you can get a couple of those bats hot at the top of the lineup, it can be definitely helpful for you. Zuber is going to reach on a walk, putting runners at first and second now. That'll bring up Axel Johnson, the center fielder. He had himself a couple hits last night, one of which was the RBI double in the 6th inning that tied the game for the foreseeable future. First pitch to Axel Johnson on the way from Justin Watlin. Inside for ball 1. One of the things that makes this Florence team so much fun to watch every single game is you know exactly what you're going to get with this Florence team, yet they always beat you with it. Foul tip into the glove of Tanksley evens the count at 1-1. I mean, there are some very strong hitters in this Y'all's lineup, and if you're a pitcher that can get around some of those to start off a game, get into a rhythm, you're going to have some success. But like we're seeing with Watlin here, a couple of the guys get to him early, and because of it, the Y'all's flexing their muscles a little bit. 1-1 to Johnson. Pushed out towards left. It's going to fall for a hit. They're waving home, the big man. Brennan Price, the throw towards home is blocked off. Price is going to score, and it's an RBI single for Axel Johnson. So far to run for Rosario. By the time he finally got there, there wasn't a play at home.
Yeah, it was hit deep enough for Price to come around, got the wave around right away. And really just putting it into open space. Wasn't hit very hard off the bat of Johnson. And talking more about this Florence lineup, we mentioned last night some of the issues have been getting the guys on base in front of the big hitters for Florence, but also they're looking to get more consistent contributions at the bottom of the lineup. It's usually that top half that gives teams most trouble, and then they haven't been able to sustain that consistency and that high level of hitting at the bottom half as well.
So 0-1 the count towards Bryant Flette. 1 out, runners at first and second. Hard hit ball, looked like it went off the foot, stayed fair, but it was foul initially. So the count would drop to 0-2. Double, single, fielder's choice, walk, and single so far for Florence. Every single man who's come to the dish has reached in some way. Got themselves a 2-run lead already here in the first inning. A little bit of a wait here before the next pitch to Flete. Sent home. Foul tipped into the netting.
Looks like Watlin put a little extra behind that one, even though it ended up being fouled off. Maybe fuming a little bit to this non-ideal start for Watlin.
Watlin ready to fire home on the 0-2. It'll stay low. A good take from Flete. Otters are 5-7 this year in day games. That being games that are played with a first pitch of 3 p.m. or earlier. A lot of those being on Sundays, of course. 1-2 stays low again. And with it, the count evens. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Good crowd here on hand for the final home game of 2022. Good group out on the Corona patio deck, and right and left field picnic tents also full. 2-2 to Flete. Outside will have a full count after the at-bat started 0-2.
They come by the end of the weekend, and it'll go down as a well-attended weekend here at the ballpark. I believe over 2,000 each of the first 2 nights. The organization's already surpassed over 100,000 for the entire regular season home schedule. And I believe the season average is still above 2,000 as well.
3-2. High outside. The bases are going to be loaded after a walk.
Basically averaging near half capacity for the season.
Well, I think we noticed it the second the season started is that the city of Evansville just wanted to be out doing something in this community, and the Otters being here sometimes 6 nights a week made it a great opportunity, and all summer long we've seen a lot of great crowds.
Yeah, I'm trying to think offhand because I don't obviously have the numbers in front of me. As Max Peterson's going to go out to talk to Watlin, the infield's going to come in as well, or at least the corner infielders. Up here come the middle infielders as well. Probably, I would say, what? I think there's been 9 weekend home series this year. Probably about 3 or 4 at least with over 10,000 people. I may be lowballing that a little bit as well.
Well, there's been 2 sellout crowds this year, and they have been exceptional crowds, too. The one a couple weeks ago, over 6,100.
Yeah, on a Thirsty Thursday.
It was just great to see that many people come support this team. The guys notice it, I can tell you that. They say they sure enjoy playing in front of a larger crowd. First pitch home is for a called strike to Lyndon Weaver.
Now Watlin's going to try to regroup here. He had Fletcher on the ropes at 0-2, then ends up giving the walk.
Yeah, ever since that foul off the foot, he was swinging. And then from that point on, really just started taking pitches, and Watlin wasn't able to hit the zone. And here again, Watlin's got himself out to an 0-2 lead. An 0-2. Works inside, hits the man, and a run's going to come home for free. So Wady Almonte will get on base with an with a hit by pitch, and it takes Flete to second, Johnson to third, and Zuberer comes home.
Well, normally we know what we're going to get out of Justin Watlin, and right now this is not what we thought we were going to see here today.
First pitch to Lyndon Weaver, stays high for ball 1.
And even there, he kind of slipped on his landing on the mound. Missed his spot maybe there a little bit.
Bases loaded, 1 out. The pitch to Lyndon Weaver. Thought about, but he did not go around, so the count goes out to 2-0. And it does look like the Otters are going to start to warm a man up out there in the right field bullpen. 2-0 to Weaver, stays low. I believe it's Tyler Spring getting up. boy, could this change the game plan if you had to utilize your bullpen this early in this weekend finale. Called strike on the 3-0. Brings Watlin a little closer. Pitch hit sharply towards Armstrong. It's short. He'll go to second for one. The relay to first. Not in time. And another run will score on a fielder's choice.
Got the ground ball, but because it was toward that left side hole, Armstrong ranging a good distance to get to it, and at least getting the force out, but it was going to be a tough play to turn, too, with Weaver's speed, and like I said, where that ball was placed toward that left side hole.
It has been quite a few games since Armstrong played at short, but I don't think that really has anything to do with it right now.
No, nothing to do with it. It was just going to be a tough play to get to.
First pitch to Cooper Edwards, taken for a called strike. First appearance for Cooper Edwards of the 3-game series. As the last 2 nights, it's been Luke Harper catching. Tonight, Harper's the DH, and because of that, Edwards behind the dish. 0-1 for Edwards. Finds his own for a called strike, too. Watlin has been incredible at getting these first 2 strikes, but that's where he's struggled in these last couple at-bats. The 0-2 to Cooper Edwards. Swinging strike 3. Tanksley will pick it up and throw towards first. In time for the 3rd out, but not before the Y'alls score 4 first-inning runs. With it, we head to the bottom half of the first. Evansville with some work to do in this one. Bottom of the first inning, Evansville with some work to do now. Down by 4. And we introduce you to the man on the mound for the Y'alls today, Yoniker Villalobos, who the Otters have seen a couple different times this year. The 6'1 lefty hails from Venezuela and is making his 18th start of the season. He's 5-7 overall with a 4.26 ERA. He's pitched almost 90 innings this season. It is Villalobos on the mound. Behind the plate, Cooper Edwards, that pitcher-catcher battery, sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. And something going on with the umpires right away to start, as the home plate man Mike O'Leary and the one on the left side of the infield, Preston Childers, were having a quick conversation. Everything seems to be sealed over and we're ready to go now. First pitch home to the switch hitting Brian Rosario. Inside ball one. Rosario, of course, swinging the bat as a righty tonight, facing the lefty Villalobos. 1-0 is hit hard towards the right side, but foul. Otters will get to their lefties right away. Switch hitting Rosario. Of course, he'll be a righty tonight, but then both Biermann and Phillips are here in this top four. 1-1 to Rosario. Foul tipped into the glove of Edwards. Ball hit hard, back up towards the middle. Picked up by Almonte. The throw to first is in time. A great grab by Brendan Price to sit down Rosario. And right away, Billy Easley has a couple of extra conversation with the umpire on the right side. But it was a quick conversation. So one down here in the first inning, and Zack Biermann making his way to the plate now.
I guess you could say Brendan Price used all 6'9" of his height to stretch out and get at that ball just in time.
That'd be the best way to say it. First pitch home, misses for ball one on Zack Biermann. Biermann has been flirting with the 300 batting average line for a long time, basically since the start of July when he dropped under it for the first time this year. He's just kind of been bouncing around the 295 area ever since. 2-0 misses inside, and Biermann takes himself a large lead in the count. And that's one of the things that stood out to me about Zack Biermann this year. If you look at his lifetime stats, not a big walk getter, but this year he's been exceptional, grabbing free bases at the plate, and there he gets one with 4 pitches.
And part of it is because, obviously, for the first half of the season especially, he was tearing it up. I mean, he was hurting every pitcher that he faced. So pitchers then started to pitch around him a little bit more carefully, and he was aware of that and was able to, take advantage of that.
I mean, even to this day, if a pitch looks good and is given good to Biermann, just because it doesn't leave the yard doesn't mean it's not clobbered by him.
Mm-hmm.
He's had some very hard hit balls just this week that, unfortunately, due to certain conditions, whether it be humidity in the air, the wind blowing in, he's not able to get one out of the ballpark yet. But he's gotten a couple close this week.
Yeah, that one last night, I mean, connected very well in the late innings, but it just died with the crosswind going right to left, as it is today.
The hero from last night, J.R. Davis, takes a strike and now fouls one off to go back 0-2 in the count. Davis had the night off, or so he thought, and then came in that bottom of the 10th inning in a one-out, man on second, or ghost runner on second situation, and 4 pitches in, sent one right back up the middle and delivered the Otters to victory. 0-2 to Davis, hit hard to the right side, through for a base hit. Biermann's going to hold tight at second, and the Otters have a couple of men on here in the first inning as well.
Good to see J.R. Davis, really shoot that the other way to right field.
Runners at first and second, 1 out, and another one of the Otters' big bats this week. Returning to the lineup after almost a month and a half out with his broken hand, Dakota Phillips has not only entered the lineup, but he's re-entered the lineup with authority, and some of these Florence pitchers have had to pay the price for it.
They had a big home run on Friday night and did another extra base hit last night.
So it is Biermann out there at second, Davis at first. Phillips ahead in the count 1-0. The offering to Dakota Phillips. That one finds the zone to even our count up at 1-1.
Kind of like last night, if the Otters could answer back with at least a run of their own, might help kind of settle things for the team going back out in the field next inning.
Yeah, you don't even need the full 4 runs. Just get a couple to keep this thing close. To prove to Justin Watlin we've got your back. We'll find a way to help you stay in this one. Phillips still alive at 1-1 in the count with 1 out and 2 men on. Pitch from Villalobos on the way. Stays low and gets a little bit away from Edwards. Not enough to do any damage, but it is ball 2. Due up next, if they need him, would be Elijah Mcnamee, the right fielder. 2-1 for Dakota Phillips. Villalobos taking his time to throw a pitch home. It's fouled off towards the Otters dugout. And with it, our count evens up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. $2 tickets here at historic Bosse Field today. Getting lots of people out for the final home game of the regular season. Otters still, at least right now, set to host the first round of the playoffs with a Tuesday night wild card game against Schaumburg if everything stays the same as it is now. 2-2 to Phillips, low and outside. You certainly cannot assume that that's how things are going to end, as Lake Erie's been making a big charge. They currently only sit 2.5 games out of Schaumburg for that 3rd playoff spot. We could easily see that Crushers team come out of nowhere and steal a playoff spot. Boy, would that be probably the story of the season for a team that needed 2 or 3 different complete turnarounds this year.
There's kind of always that one team every year that starts off really slow and then they get hot at the end. Of course, then you always have the one team on the other end of that spectrum where they start off hot and then they fall off.
3-2 to Phillips. Hit towards the second baseman, Almonte. He'll pick it up to second for 1. The relay to first is in time. And a 4-6-3 double play will bring this first inning to a close. Evansville threatens but cannot do anything with their men on base. We head to the second inning. Florence 4, Evansville 0. Top of the second inning. Before we go any further, I do want to walk you through, again, the Frontier League standings. Washington is currently the only team in the league that has a playoff spot clinched, but the Quebec Capitals could join them today with a win in their series. 3 teams are eliminated, Florence, Windy City, and Empire State, but another couple could join today. The loser of the the Trois-Rivières, New Jersey game, they would be eliminated, as well as Gateway would be eliminated if they lost today. Starting to see a little bit of the playoff picture become a little bit more clear on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. First pitch home to Luke Harper, who is leading off his 2nd straight inning. Fouls one off to the left side. Florence in their full gray jerseys with the script Florence written on the front of the jersey in red. White numbers.
Yeah, going with a different uniform today. They had the, I guess you would call it light blues first couple of nights, and with the change in jerseys, you also have the change in jersey numbers. You know, as I've noticed, at least Harper and Price are wearing their non-usual jersey numbers based on their official roster.
One, 2 to Harper. Stays high for ball 2. But one thing always stays consistent about the Florence Y'alls, as a 2-2 stays high for ball 3, and that's that every member of this team, coach, player, bullpen, catcher, doesn't matter who you are, They all have the high red socks. Pitched in off to the left side, over the head of Craig, and down for a leadoff base hit. It's the second hit of the day for Luke Harper. And both of Harper's have been just over the defensive players.
Shortstop, 7, Alberti Chavez.
So Alberti Chavez makes his way to the dish. He already has a single in the game as well, part of that big first inning. Harper at first with a decent lead over there. Pitch on the way home, bounces in, gets away from Tanksley, and because of it, Harper's going to advance to second. Scores will decide that one, a pass ball on the catcher Tanksley. And now another man in scoring position. And once again, Tyler Spring will get throwing again in the right field bullpen. The 1-0 home. Off the handle of the bat, fouled or popped up in the infield. Armstrong is over there and makes the grab basically where he would usually stand for a second baseman positioning. Armstrong, our shortstop tonight.
First baseman, 35, Brendan Price.
That'll bring up the first baseman, Brendan Price, who had an RBI fielder's choice his first time up. Every pitcher seems to hold the breath just a little bit as they see him walk up. Jake Polancic quickly let that deep breath out in last night's game and went right at him and challenged the first baseman. Hard hit ball to the right side, gets into the glove of Biermann. He's going to underhand one to Watlin for the out there at first. Officially 3-1 there on the putout. And an important out to get for Watlin, though it does allow Harper to advance to third. Ray Zuber making his way to the plate now. He reached on a walk in the first inning, came around to score on the RBI hit by pitch from Wady Almonte. Zuber, a pretty local guy from Owensboro, Kentucky, not too far down the road from here. First pitch home to Zuber, taken for a called strike one. Man on third is Luke Harper with 2 outs and a 0-1 count. The 0-1 hit hard to the right side, down for a hit to the right side. A run's going to score. And staying at first is Ray Zuber. It's an RBI single to make it a 5-0 advantage.
Center fielder, 2, Axel Johnson.
And the big day continues for Florence here in the early innings. So that'll bring up Axel Johnson. He had an RBI single in his last inning. First pitch home is a ball to start off his at-bat. Spring continues to throw for Evansville out in the right field bullpen. They're going to go check on the runner, but back in time is Ray Zuber. 2 outs, a 1-0 count to Axel Johnson. Florence leads by 5. Ball sent out towards left. Rosario will go back a few steps towards the warning track, and that's where he brings it in for the third outs. We make our way to the bottom of the second, and it's all Florence so far in this one. 5-0 in favor of the Alls. Bottom of the second inning, and it is currently all y'alls here at Bossy Field. Do want to give you an initial look around the Frontier League today. Not a lot going on quite yet, but we'll at least keep you in the know. Ottawa up 4-2 against Empire State. This is a must-win series for Ottawa. They needed to sweep the Grays to keep themselves atop that race for second in the East. They're on their way to doing that right now. 4-2, top of the fourth. New Jersey, Trois-Rivières in a battle to decide who is the next team eliminated from playoff contention. Trois-Rivières up 6-0 on the Jackals in the bottom of the third inning right now. You know about our game, 5-0 y'alls. They're just about to get underway between Gateway Schaumburg, Washington Lake Erie, and Joliet Windy City. First pitch to Elijah Mcnamee, a called strike on the high inside corner. 2 more games will round out our day. They'll get started about the time we're finishing up pretty much. Tri-City at New York and Sussex County at Quebec. Capitals have a chance to clinch their playoff spot today. 0-1, driven out towards right. It's working foul. Working that way is the right fielder, diving into the foul area over there, and he does come up with the ball. It's a hard-earned out for Weaver as he went sliding over into the bullpen area and has led off this half inning with an impressive out.
What a play. Lynn Weaver getting the start. Came in late in the game last night after Ronnie Tinney injured himself on a play early about midway through the game. So mid-game substitution. Now he's getting the start in right field.
So that'll bring up Jeffrey Baez, who re-entered the lineup last night with a couple of solid opportunities at the plate. He takes the first pitch for ball 1. Yeah, I'm not sure if the addition of Brian Rosario has made Jeffrey Baez's life better or worse. Better in the fact that he definitely gets to space out his appearances both in the outfield and at the plate, especially in the outfield as he's done some more DHing. But it seemed like now when he's at the plate, the at-bats mean a lot more individually, and he's had some really solid at-bats because of it. Ball goes in for a called strike, 2-1 now the count. Been incredibly proud of the way Jeffrey Baez has worked himself deeper into counts in this last month and a half. Done much better about not swinging at every pitch he sees, especially on the outside.
Yeah, he's been better in terms of making the pitcher work and lengthening the at-bats. Maybe the number's not quite showing in the results stat-wise quite yet, but in the long run, those kind of at-bats help the team effort.
Baez half barrels one out towards center. Johnson will get underneath it, and that's where he brings it in for out number 2. Ball worked a little too far up on the handle for Jeffrey Baez.
Yeah, just a little bit inside. Nice little uppercut swing as usual for Baez. Johnson out there in center field. We've seen him be the DH as well as play first base. Now making his way to center field, so a nice versatile player for Florence.
So that'll bring up the tank, Brody Tanksley, who a couple weeks ago became a huge part of this team with the Felix injury. Had to see Tanksley take on a little bit more of a role, and he's been exceptional in the games he's done. You might not see it in the RBI category, but you're seeing it in the hit category, and you're certainly seeing it in the run category, getting himself on base a lot and letting the people behind help drive him in. Pitch outside takes it to a 2-0 count for Brody Tanksley. As I have roomed with Tanksley on quite a few road trips, I've gotten to know him quite well and hear more about his story and what's brought him into professional baseball. He's been an enjoyable individual to get to know and to hear his story about going through baseball. Very connected still with his high school and collegiate coaches and checks in with them often. They always like to hear how things are going here at the next level, and it's cool to see that he's still so connected to those guys. 3-0 finds the elbows for a called strike. Tanksley's still well ahead in the count, though. 3-1, swinging strike 2. Tanksley just a little out in front of that one. That will set up the payoff pitch with 2 outs and the bases empty. Otters trying to get something going here in the second inning. 3-2 home. Called strike 3 on the inside edge. That'll sit down Tanksley and sit down the Otters in the second. We've played through 2 full innings. It's Florence 5, Evansville 0. As we head to the top of the third inning, a pitching change for Evansville. Tyler Spring will get the nod in what is probably going to be expected to be a little bit of a lengthier opportunity for him. The 6'6 righty heads to the mound. 17th appearance for him on the year. He has a 7.20 ERA, but don't let that cloud what you think of Tyler Spring. He's been thrown in a couple difficult situations, which have not helped his ERA, and has not really had a chance to start fresh in innings and prove himself this year.
Right, and it feels like he's probably from an individual standpoint been pitching better and a little bit more effective than at the beginning of the season, and it kind of caught us all by surprise at the beginning of the year and how much he had struggled because of how good he was last season. But he's quickly kind of gotten back into the fold. He spent a couple weeks on the IL since coming back. Again, just kind of making those steps forward in the right direction.
And I think one of his most impressive outings all season came last week at Washington. Came in for an inning. It was kind of in a situation where the Otters needed someone to help give Sawyer an extra inning just in case they needed him for one more. And Spring came in and pitched wonderfully, a full inning that he held a good offense off the board and certainly kept the Otters in that ball game. Bryant Flete, Wady Almonte, and Lyndon Weaver, the three due up for Florence here in the third inning. They enter the game, or they've entered the third inning with a 5-0 advantage in this one. First pitch home to Bryant Flete. Fouled back into the netting. He's done that quite a few times tonight. Good timed swings. Not quite in the right place yet. Oh, 1 the count for Bryant Flete. Again, fouled back into the netting. Drops him back 0-2 in the count. Defense with a little bit of a shift to the right side as Andy Armstrong playing a little bit closer to second than usual. Oh, 2 to Flete. Really slowing that one down was Spring. Thought he had got the strikeout, but he's going to have to try once more. Really good offering there. Now a 1-2 for the third baseman, Flete. Swinging strike 3, that'll do it. A leadoff strikeout for Tyler Spring.
And that takes care of the strikeout batter of the game. Here are the first early innings of today's contest.
So any fans in attendance that were just here for the giveaway,
hopefully your section was picked.
brings up the 8-hole hitter now. Wady Almonte. He had an RBI hit by pitch his first time up. Still a hefty breeze coming in from the south, which, unfortunate for the people here in attendance, this ballpark blocks that wind quite a bit if you're sitting in the stands, so it can make for a toasty day to sit there and watch a game. As for the players on the field, it can really help the righties crank a ball out of this place. A reminder, the Otters on the road for the final week of the season. 3 at Washington, 3 at Florence. 1-1 home, set on the ground towards Craig. A nice diving play by him. His throw over to first in time. You've seen plenty of that this year.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, the third base is not where I've seen him the most. I've seen him mostly at first base, where normally he's, as Bill McNamee put it for Riley Crane last year, the vacuum cleaner for the Otters. Well, Tanner Craig was the vacuum cleaner for the University of Evansville throughout his career. I mean, he made some nice digs and picks at first base. Didn't seem a whole lot at third, but hopefully that's a good sign that maybe he's adjusting adapting to that other corner of the infield because he did kind of have some struggles early on in his first few starts for the Otters at third base.
Yeah, and if he can gain some confidence over there, maybe some time with Dakota Phillips helps as well over there. That's a great way to start your professional career, to immediately be a versatile both corner infielder. It puts you on the radar of a lot of teams potentially. 0-1 to Weaver. He fouls one back into the rimming around here.
Just hope that he can consistently get the bat going because when Tanner Craig gets hot, he's tough to beat. And, of course, the number of fastballs he'll see at the plate is going to be at a premium. So he has to be smart and disciplined and wait for that one fastball that he does get.
0-2 to Weaver. Stays low and outside. Yeah, it was pretty special there on the road at Windy City to see him really get a hold of a ball and send it out of the ballpark and kind of give people in the Otters fan base a taste of what the University of Evansville fan base has been seeing for years.
Yeah, no, he has a lot of power. As if you're at
Ball hit sharply to the left side. It's through, and Lyndon Weaver has his first professional hit. Had to wait a couple extra nights here on the road. Ball hit sharply to the left side.
But at the field at German American Bay Field, Charles H. Von Sam on the campus of the University of Evansville, if that protective netting didn't separate the field from the Lloyd Expressway, he would have sent numerous baseballs to the Lloyd Expressway.
So that'll bring up the catcher, Cooper Edwards, with a man on and 2 outs. That's just a tough one over there. Craig made a good read on it, but it got a good bounce over his glove. And with it being Armstrong at short, he hadn't played quite over to the ball in time like sometimes George Khalil has. And it's a well-earned single there for Weaver. Count falls to 0-1 for Cooper Edwards. He struck out to end that big first inning. The 0-1 home. There goes the runner towards second, and it's fouled back into the netting. That one almost got through the camera hole up there. Well, certainly a different trip that the Otters are going to take this week. They head to Washington tomorrow instead of Tuesday, or instead of overnight. Wonder if that's going to play in their favor any after the last time they went to Washington. I don't know, maybe the overnight bus trip helped them because they went overnight, won 2 of 3, the first 2 of the 3 games they played there at Washington, and ever since have looked like a brand new team.
Yeah, you're exactly right. After that home Windy City game on the 18th on that Thursday, had the overnight trip to Washington, able to win the series, and it was just a quick little 3-game road trip, able to come back for this 6-game homestand. And really, this is kind of a nice little road trip to finish the season on because you will get that travel day to get up to Washington, and then you're hitting Florence on the way back. So it kind of breaks up the road trip back a little bit by, probably about, I would say, halfway, I would say.
Just about, yeah. 1-2 to Edwards. Stays low for ball 2. If things stay the same way of the rotation that they've been recently, we would likely see O'Reilly, Smith, and Adcock, the 3 in Washington. I'm confident with those 3 pitching up there. That's a solid 3 to get to right into Washington with. Again, the man tries. The throw out to second is a little bit late. The pitch was a little bit outside for ball 3.
Yeah, I mean, with the way the schedule finishes out in terms of the probables, then you would think, and then it goes, Gossman, Watlin in the first 2 games at Florence, then back to O'Reilly.
You've got either Smith or Adcock that would be ready for that wild card game.
Pick them.
Give me either.
Watlin, Gossman, I mean, any of them. I mean, really, yeah, you can pick any of them. I feel pretty confident with the 1-game wild card.
Zooming ball to the left side is foul, and man goes hopping out of the Florence bullpen.
And then, of course, you get a couple days potentially in between the wild card game to the start of the divisional series if the Otters were to get that far.
Three balls, 2 strikes to the catcher, Cooper Edwards, with a man on second and 2 outs. Pitch comes home, and again it's sent foul to the left side. This is a pretty big at-bat for Tyler Spring here, trying to keep Florence off the board. Let's try again on the 3-2 payoff pitch home. Sent back up the middle, through for a base hit. Charging in his bias, they're going to send the man home. Throw towards the plate is offline a little bit, and because of that, the run is going to score. An RBI single from Cooper Edwards makes it a 6-0 game in favor of Florence.
Getting the contributions at the bottom of the lineup. Weaver getting his first, and Edwards, who was really spent a lot of time as the primary catcher earlier in the season for Florence, at least in their first trip to Bosse Field at that time. But with Harper's kind of emergence offensively, it's hard to keep him out of the lineup. And he's DHing today at the top of the order and up to bat now, but we saw Harper behind the plate as the backstop earlier in this series.
First pitch strike to the outside to kick off the at-bat for Luke Harper. And this is what you and I also mentioned is how Florence can be a dangerous team. Get the bottom of the order working and try to link one or two hits together in an inning, and that's what's going to lead to some success. And that's what they've done very well tonight. An 0-2 count early to Luke Harper. Both Watlin and Spring have done a great job of getting ahead on batters, but that's when the base hits have come.
Yeah, been getting ahead pretty well, but it seemed like just having trouble finishing off batters.
An 0-2 to Harper. Put off the edge of the bat, off towards left, and it is going to fall into the glove of Rosario for out number 3. Another run scores for the Yalls, and they lead by 6. Bottom of the third, Evansville still looking for some offense. Florence has found plenty. They lead this game by 6. And I guess as we transition into football season, naturally that on Sunday we're going to have a football score here early in this one.
Yeah, a couple field goals right now, or a touchdown missed extra point, however you want to describe it for Florence so far. But still plenty of innings left. Otters still have the opportunities to chip away.
Andy Armstrong, Tanner Craig, and Rosario are the 3-2 up. And you know, this is not a situation the Otters have come back from this year, as they have only come back from one deficit of 4 runs or more all season. That came a couple weeks ago against that Windy City squad. but their offense lives in those middle innings, right at the end of a starting pitcher's lifespan and sometimes at the beginning of a new relief pitcher. That's where this team strikes. Ball hit directly on a line towards Chavez at third, and he brings it in for out number 1. That's a good hit ball, just in the wrong direction.
I mean, that was really a frozen rope liner off the bat of Armstrong, but literally positioned perfectly at short. Chavez. Sounded like it kind of stung the glove a little bit. I mean, it came at him hard.
So that brings up Tanner Craig, making his first appearance in a game in some time. First pitch to him, taken for a called strike 1. I really hope that Tanner Craig finds a way to be invited back to the spring training part of next season, gets to work with Andy McCauley's group, and potentially finds another role in this team to continue working on his professional baseball career. I don't think we got a chance to see the real Tanner Craig because of the scenario that he was brought into. Right in the playoff race, he's not one of your top string guys right now, so you're trying to rotate him through. Pushes one to the right side, and it's going to fall in for a base hit. And Evansville gets a man on with 1 out here in the third.
And that's a good piece of hitting for Tanner Craig, something you like to see more of from TC, as he's going to get a lot of pitches down and away, especially with the slider. So if he can go with it and take it the other way just like that, he'll find a lot of success. Because that's basically what it's going to come down to. Either him jumping in on the first pitch fastball when he gets it, especially in this favorable matchup against the lefty on the mound, or being able to go with the pitch with the breaking ball, or even a little bit of the off-speed down and away.
Well, there's not a lot of things more dangerous than a hitter that can hit it anywhere in the ballpark. So if you can find some consistency pushing, it helps. Rosario tried to bunt one to the left side, and Flete will slap that one towards his dugout for a foul ball strike 1. This is exactly, at least for myself, exactly what I expected we were going to see out of a start from Yoniker Villalobos. He's done this to Evansville a couple times this year. If he gets into a rhythm, he is a very dangerous guy to have to face at the plate. Pitch comes in and bounces off the elbow guard of Brian Rosario. That's why you wear that one. And it'll send Rosario to first. Otters have 2 men on here in the third. Rosario's another one that I really hope we get to see flourish next year. Actually, it seems like they're going to ask if that went off the knob of the bat. But I'll continue with that. I hope Rosario finds a way to get back with this squad and continue building this professional game. He's had an exceptional month and a half. And if he starts next year anyway like he ended this year, he's well on his way to potentially earning himself a ticket to the next level, whether it be rookie ball or single A.
Yeah, he's kind of he's just kind of a spark for this team in a lot of different ways. Obviously, he can play the outfield, very versatile defensively. Just really a good, really for average hitter with the way he puts the ball in play. Of course, he can lay down on bunt, and obviously has speed. I mean, really has a lot of tools.
First pitch home to Biermann. Low and outside, ball 1. In the first 2 games Rosario played, he batted in the 9-hole, then the 7-hole. And in the last 21 games now he's played, he's either been the leadoff man or the second hitter. And there's a good reason for that. I mean, he gets himself on base and sets up those RBI men behind him. 1-0 to Biermann is dug out and fouled off the foot for strike 1 and evens our count up. So Biermann taking his time, waiting at the plate. As Villalobos finally gets himself set for the 1-1 pitch to the first baseman, Biermann. 2 on, 1 out. Low outside pitch. They'll go check out there, but Craig is back in time. And I don't hate that base running from Craig. Stay off base a little bit. If the catcher wants to throw, make him make a tough throw and potentially, you risk the throw over or something that gets you guys an extra base. As long as you know you can get back, why not? 2-1 to Biermann. Sent off to the opposite side. Flete working towards it in foul territory, and he brings it in for the second out of this one. And a lot of frustration there right away from Zack Biermann, a situation he's seen far too much of in these last couple of weeks. J.R. Davis, the hero from last night, steps in now. He's 1 for 1 with a single so far in this game. First pitch to Davis. Stays on the inside edge, but not by too much. That's a good first pitch to attack with.
First time out, Davis really had a good at-bat and a good swing, putting the ball sharply to right field the opposite way.
Wind continues to blow pretty heftily out towards left, maybe left center. 1-0 to Davis. He hits one on the ground towards the bullpen of Florence. The kids all go running over towards the bullpen, saying me, me, me.
But now with the way the defensive alignment infield-wise, they are shading toward that opposite way a little bit, creating a big hole toward left field and through the shortstop side.
One for Davis. Pushed off towards the opposite field. Chasing back is Johnson, and he will bring it in for the final out of the inning. Second time today, the Otters have gotten 2 men on. Can't do anything with either. And because of it, we head to the 4th. Evansville still down by 6. Evansville Otters baseball on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers, Boots Day. Top of the 4th inning. Tyler Spring returns to the mound for Evansville. Otters just trying to find an inning where they don't concede a run. The further you dig yourself into this hole, the more you've got to find things that spark in this back half of the game, and you're just making life a little harder on yourself with each run you give up, obviously.
Yeah, and the thing about it, it seems like that's kind of how these Sunday games always go, especially at the early start times. It's kind of a show and go day. You don't really take BP. You might go out to the cage for a little bit. But the routine is not exactly the same as you would for a normal evening game. And sometimes that's when you kind of have your weird, quirky scores and early deficits, perhaps.
First pitch to Alberti Chavez on the way. Stays high for ball 1. I mean, a lot of the time, like, pitchers will report to the ballpark at, say 2:30 or so for a 6:30 game, 4 or 5 hours ahead of time to go through their usual day-to-day operations. Most batters maybe 3 hours. But then on a day like today, the first individuals of the actual team is maybe getting here 2.5 hours early. So you're moved back a little bit. You don't get that full time. You don't get the morning if you needed an extra hour of sleep or whatever. It's just a weird day. 1-0 sent out towards Baez in center. He'll take 5 or 6 steps back and wait for it to come into the glove for out number 1.
Had a slight delay in that bat as the left field gate had it blown open. Member of the Florence bullpen helping out and closing it so we can get back to play.
And a good heads up from the Otters dugout to see that, because if that doesn't get noticed and Tanner Craig goes running after a foul ball, there's a really dangerous situation potentially.
Right. They were trying to point out before the first pitch of the at-bat, but couldn't quite get the umpire's attention. So the first pitch did take place, and then they were able to get play to be paused after that first pitch of the at-bat and grab the attention to get it closed.
Price takes a called strike 1 on the outside half to kick things off, and immediately a little frustrated. Certainly knew he let a good pitch by. 0-1 home. Further outside, that evens our count at 1-1. Do want to give you a little update about what's going on around the Frontier lead. Bottom of the 5th inning, Ottawa up 5-3 against Empire. Trois-Rivières up 9-3 on New Jersey, top of the 5th there. And the Gateway Grizzlies already up 2-0 at Schaumburg. 1-1 is foul tipped into the glove of Tanksley for strike 2. If Gateway can help you out today, Otters are not hurt too much by a loss here.
No. If you can get some help, you're not hurt too much. You've already won the series, so that's a plus.
They're in the 3rd inning, by the way, in Avon, Ohio. Still scoreless between the Wild Things and Crushers.
With the hopes for the division still possible for the Otters, you would like to go ahead and get a win today because you'd also need a lot to happen from Washington to still get to the top.
Ball into center is going to be a base hit for Price on the, I don't want to say weakly hit, just good contact, driven out towards center for a base hit. As of right now, the magic number for Washington to clinch the division is 2. So any combination of Washington wins or Evansville losses, which of course means the Otters would have to sweep Washington on the road. If they lost today, the Otters would need to win out and have quite a bit of help from Washington in order to win the division. I don't think the eyes are set right now on winning the division. It's on making sure you're hosting that Tuesday night game. Ray Zuber at the plate with 1 out, 1 on. Pitch comes home, a bit outside for ball 1.
As the Otters have had some recent tough luck on the road late in the season / postseason when they've made the trips to Schaumburg the last few years. So yeah, you definitely like to be hosting in that possible 1-game wild card.
1-0 pitch outside, and we say right now, go to Schaumburg or host Schaumburg. Again, it could very easily be either Joliet or Lake Erie. I think if it's going to be anyone now, it's going to be Lake Erie. As Joliet's couple of losses to Windy City have really dampened them. Really tough time to be a slammer right now. But keep an eye on the Crushers. They could make a run in towards this playoff and potentially grab one of the 2 spots. Evansville's not in the clear either. Even though they are a game above Schaumburg right now, Schaumburg has a game in hand that they'll play tomorrow. I would say after tomorrow night, once that extra game's out of the way, that's when things we're really able to say you have to do this or you don't have to do that. A lot of this is still up in the air until after tomorrow night.
Now, I tell you, if Lake Erie were to get into the playoffs, that would be kind of a fresh picture, fresh look for the Frontier League. Kind of change up the normal teams that have normally been in the postseason the last few years, especially for Lake Erie. They've not really been in the mix for a postseason spot like this in quite a few years.
Well, and just like I said earlier, it's a great story if they can do it too, because that was a team that was really down in the dumps in maybe after a month into the season, maybe a month and a half. From the first time we went there, I remember talking with their general manager a little bit before the game, and he said, this has been such a long week. I feel like we're already 2/3 of the way to the transaction limit, which is pretty high. Don't worry. No team hit it this year, but he said it feels like we're almost there. We've almost completely overturned our roster. We don't really know what's going to come of this year. And ever since then, they've just been trending in the right direction. And they got really hot at the right time. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games and could very easily be a playoff team now.
And a lot of credit has to be given to the skipper up there, Cam Roth, now in his second stint with Lake Erie, as he had a brief journey to Gateway as an assistant, then being the head man quickly, and then now he's back with the Crushers.
That's such a unique place to play there at Mercy Health Stadium in Avon. It's one of the most unique turf fields I've ever seen, and it's hard to call turf fields unique because of how similar they are. But I mean, from the way that the press box is built to the way that the dugouts sit, their turf is extremely bouncy, so some of those fly balls out there, if they're not caught, can be almost instant ground rule doubles over their 13-foot fence. It's just such a unique place to play a ball game. Called strike to Axel Johnson, kicks off his at-bat. With one out, there's 2 men on after the walk to Zuberer.
It's a warm day here at the ballpark. I see a lot of fans with the battery-powered fans around their necks, trying to stay cool.
0-1 now for Johnson. He launches this one high and foul. Tanner Craig's going to work that way in foul territory. Brings it in for out number 2. It's the unfortunate thing about a hefty south wind is it just does nothing here at this place. Probably a pretty nice day at Ellis Park. The breeze kind of blows through there pretty well, but
it was really nice last week when I went last Sunday. Of course, it was much cooler temperature-wise, but like you said, the south wind, which normally, especially on the foul balls here on the first base side, for some reason they just seem to come back into play no matter what. Today, with today's wind, they're definitely still in play. And so, yeah, bring that south wind, the warmer air, not ideal. You'd rather have that north wind bring the cooler air from the northern part of the country.
Flete stepping back in on the 0-1. He's got 2 outs and 2 men in front of him. 0-1 well outside, evens his count at 1-1. Flete hails from Venezuela. Spent time with Lake Erie earlier as well. The 1-1 to the plate. Again, high and outside. Don't forget, Otters are on the road after today. Tuesday night, they'll be on the road at Washington. 7:05 local time start, which means it's 6:05 time here in Evansville. Have the game for you here on the Otters Digital Network audio stream. A 2-1. Hit sharply to the right side, but foul. And as per usual, Jake Polancic will pop up out of the Otters bullpen to grab that foul ball.
You think even if the game were to get close, he may not be available considering he went multiple innings last night.
Kind of have to think it would be Augie Gallardo's setup man job today. 2-2 on the ground, in play now, into the glove of Biermann. He'll underhand it to Spring at first for the final out of the inning. Otters finally get themselves through an inning without conceding a run. It's still 6-0 in favor of the Yalls. And we head to the bottom half of the fourth inning here on the Otters Digital Network. Evansville still looking for some offense, but it is a bright side to get yourself through a half inning defensively without conceding a run. And, that's step one to coming back in this one, is holding the opposition scoreless, and that's where they're at least right now. Dakota Phillips set to kick off the half inning for the Otters. He'll be followed by Elijah Mcnamee and Jeffrey Baez. Finally ready to kickstart this bottom half of the fourth. First pitch home to Phillips is good for a called strike on the outside. Oh, 1 is swung on and missed. A short swing there from Phillips. Drops him back in the count. Defense with a heavy shift to the right side for Phillips. Takes one inside for ball 1. And by heavy shift, I mean 3 of the 4 infielders are on the right side of second base, as the shortstop Chavez basically playing maybe 2 feet to the right of second base and then just above. Flete playing in the shortstop spot. And the ball's going to go towards Flete at the shortstop positioning. Over to first. Dug out by Price for out number 1. So the one man on the left side of the infield happens to be in the right place to get Phillips with the opening out of the fourth inning. That'll bring up the right fielder Elijah Mcnamee. He is 0 for 1 with a foul out to the right fielder. Didn't really get an at-bat his last time up because it was a nice play made by Weaver out there in the Otters bullpen. Went sliding into the fence to make the grab. Pitch in for a called strike on Mcnamee. Drops him back 0-1 in the count. Oh, 1 for Elijah Mcnamee. Base is empty. 1 out. Bottom of the fourth inning. Launches one foul to the right side. Working that way will be Price, but it's going to keep working out of play and will come rolling off of the roof. Drops the count to 0-2 for Elijah Mcnamee. One out and an 0-2 count for Elijah Mcnamee. The pitch comes home high and almost looked like it went right through the glove of the catcher Edwards. One ball, 2 strikes for Mcnamee. Hit sharply off the almost handle of the bat towards the bullpen of Florence over there. Again, the kids go flocking over there. All set in play out towards left. Zuber chasing back towards it at the wall. Gone! It's a big hit, Mac. Big fly. And the Otters are on the board. That's a good way to kickstart the offense. It all starts with 1. The home run chain goes on as he celebrates. Up here, we don't get to see the home run chain very often. It made an appearance during the walk-off last night. It's the state of Indiana in blue with E on it, and the E lights up. Otters are on the board. here with a 1-out home run hit by Elijah Mcnamee, and that'll bring up Jeffrey Baez now.
Overhead now ball brought to you by Hess Construction. Choose the best, never regret it.
Baez quickly back 0-1 in the count after fouling a pitch off back behind home. Zooms one out towards left center. Johnson running back towards the warning track. It bounces into the wall. Baez will work himself out to second. He's got himself a 1-out double. Otters just needed someone to break through, and now they're starting to link a couple of hits together.
The catcher, 46, Brody Tanksley.
Brody Tanksley walking in now. 1 out to runner at second. Be a good chance for Tanksley to grab another RBI. First pitch home towards Tanksley. Low inside, ball 1. Little miscommunication out there between the second baseman and shortstop, trying to decide who's going to stay close and cover Baez. Especially with a righty at the plate, be careful. Baez might try to grab an extra base. One-0 for Brody Tanksley. That one's a good one right across the strike zone. Evens our count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Baez stands with a good lead off second with 1 out. A 1-1 pitch for Brody Tanksley comes home. It's off towards the right side. Price chasing after it in foul territory, but it falls right next to him for just a foul ball strike that takes the count to 1-2. Andy Armstrong and Tanner Craig, the next 2 Otters due up.
If you are looking for your child, you can check the Otters front office. If you're looking for your child, you can check the Otters front office. Thank you.
One-two for Brody Tanksley. 1 out, 1 man on. And they'll step off and check on Baez. One to the count for Tanksley. Waiting on the pitch from Villalobos. Finds the inside part off the zone to even our count at 2-2 now. So everyone will have to reset. Big hole on the left side for Tanksley potentially. 2-2. He pushes one towards the right side, but foul. Was working down the right field line, but just kept hooking. Even 2-2 count for Brody Tanksley. Even 2-2 count to Tanksley. Stays inside. We've got a full count. Baez stands on second. A 3-2 to Tanksley. Swung on and missed. He was out in front of it. It's a second strikeout of the day for Tanksley. And those are the only 2 strikeouts the Villalobos has picked up all day. So that'll bring Andy Armstrong now to the plate. First pitch to Armstrong, outside for ball 1. Otters trying to grab a second run this half inning after Elijah Mcnamee's one-out solo home run. One-0 finds the zone at the elbows, and with it, the count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike. A 1-1 pitch towards Armstrong finds the zone again, this one on the high outside quadrant. And a little bit of pressure now put on Armstrong. One ball, 2 strikes to Andy Armstrong. Villalobos throws home. Pushed foul to the right side. We'll have to do it again.
Big Red tells me that's an overhead foul ball brought to you by Heads Construction. Choose the best. Never regret it.
Do want to make sure that, just in case this game were to get too interesting and I get a little bit too distracted, want to make sure I issue thanks to everyone who's tuned into games all season long, but especially if you've come and joined us here at historic Bosse Field at all this year. It's been a lot of fun to interact with the great fans of this Evansville community. Glad you're joining us, whether you're here in person or on the Otters Digital Network this afternoon. It's been certainly fun to see a couple of wild crowds this year, especially there's been a few Tuesday and Wednesday nights that we've had 3,000 or 4,000. Man, Evansville, you guys are crazy, crazy good fans. 1-2 the count for Andy Armstrong with 2 outs and a runner at second. Otters just trying to chip away at this lead. 1-2 pitch home. Sent on the ground towards Chavez into the glove. Throw across to first is in time for the inning to end. But a solo home from Elijah Mcnamee has put the Otters on the board. We've played 4 innings. It's Florence 6, Evansville 1. Here on your home for Evansville baseball, the Otters Digital Network. And as we welcome you back to the 5th inning, we'll take one more look at Elijah Mcnamee's home run, which has put the Otters on the board here in this one. Still a lot of work to do, but the home run at least brings Evansville on the board and prevents the shutout. Now they can start to work themselves back closer into this one. At this point, we do want to pause from our game action and welcome in our guests from the Tri-State MS Association. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, and thanks for partnering with the Otters.
Very happy to be here.
So I've obviously got to spend some time talking with you guys for our pregame interview today. You guys spoke as well when we started the game. A great organization here in the Tri-State area. You support a lot of Illinois, a lot of Kentucky, a lot of Indiana. First of all, what does the Tri-State MS Association do for this community?
Well, quite a lot, and I can tell you firsthand because it was my daughter who threw out the first pitch today, Molly. She just turned 24 this past week. We're a big baseball, softball family. Her older brothers played baseball, grew up watching the triplets and the Otters, and she was a very active softball player. And kind of out of nowhere, right as she was about to turn 20, between her freshman and sophomore year in college, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And as parents, my wife Janice and I had no clue what that meant, what to do. And the Tri-State MS Association and Debbie Hebler really guided us through that situation.
So obviously, if people want more information on the individual Tri-City or Tri-State MS Association, you can go to their website. I want to take this time to focus more on your guys' story. And
Sure.
of course, the big thing you guys have been working on is the Strikeout MS campaign, and planned on putting on that softball tournament. And COVID didn't help some of those things. But what is Strikeout MS, and what is its goal to help accomplish?
Yeah, so pre 2019, I suppose it was, fall of 2019, a year after.
Ball fouled off to the left side by Almonte. Rosario will bring in for out number 1.
Yeah, a year after her diagnosis, she and I were talking, and thankfully she's doing really, really well. She has relapsing remitting MS, which if you're going to have MS is the best version of it. And the Tri-State MS Association and her neurologist to the Tri-State MS Association helped us have a great plan for her. And as she and I started talking about how best could we give back to the community and help just people learn about Tri-State MS Association, what struck us was softball, because that's been such a big part of my and her life together. I coached her up through her youth softball career, and so that was just sort of the most natural way for us to give back. And so we did create and had a really successful first year. Had the tournament in the fall of 2019 in Newburgh, and we've paused it since, because the Tri-State or the multiple sclerosis community, I should say, is a community that's at higher risk than average for COVID, and we really want that community to be able to be a part of it. So we haven't had it since. I think we're feeling good about doing it this coming year. However, if things continue to level out and stay where they're at.
You can find more information, of course, on Facebook. They have a group called the Strikeout MS. A lot of good information there, as well as on the tristatems.org website, where you guys have got to spend a lot of time working hand in hand. You mentioned Debbie's contributions both to your guys' lives and what she does as a whole for Tri-State MS. And this is an organization who makes that transition from you've been given the diagnosis and now what is next, and they take that next step and make it a lot easier on you.
100%, yeah. It's very scary, because generally when you are facing that diagnosis, it's because you're having what's called a flare. You're having serious symptoms. In my daughter's case, she had numbness throughout her body and problems with her, what's called optic neuritis. All of a sudden, she was struggling to see out of one of her eyes. And so, that you're sort of compressed for time. You're trying to make really, really important decisions to get on the right therapy plan. And Tri-State MS Association sort of set us down, calmed us down as parents. My daughter was always calm about it. It was her mom and I that were the ones that were a mess. Calmed us down and just helped us work through and understand what our options were, and it was huge. And it's not just the Tri-State MS Association. It's not just Debbie and the folks on the board. There's a really, really strong, close-knit community of folks in this area who are dealing with MS. And they came out and talked to us and talked to my daughter.
Throw out to second looks good, but it's a little bit late. So a stolen base for Lyndon
for
Weaver will give him
an
opportunity to be in scoring position. One of the things that I'm sure that people, if they are faced with this situation, will also worry about is, how do I make this call to the Tri-State MS? How do they help aid in this? First of all, you've got the shocking news. How do they make that a little bit easier to, okay, here's the next step, and help break things down for you?
Yeah, in my case, we were lucky. I work at Old National Bank, and I had a friend there, Ben Juergens, who was a board member, and I was telling him what was going on. His father has MS. He's like, you've got to reach out to Debbie Hebler at the Tri-State MS Association, and that we made a call later that day. Molly and I were sitting down with her and kind of going through our options. And that's why we started Strikeout MS, is to try to help raise not just money but awareness, so that other people who might be dealing with that know who to talk to. The other thing is, um, people in this community, like my daughter, who have MS, or parents who went through it. Molly was one of the younger people. It typically hits in your 20s to 30s. So 19 is a little young, but there have been people even younger than that. And, Molly's somebody who will always say, I'll talk to anybody. If somebody's going through it. We've had a couple people in the last, I guess it's been around 4 years, who've come to us or been put in touch with us, and she's talked to that young person about what they're going through. So it's a group of people that just look out for each other and help each other through whatever they're going through.
Pitching coach Max Peterson going to have a walk out to talk with his pitcher Tyler Spring, who Spring has pitched well so far since coming into this game. A couple of scoreless frames, working on his third inning now in what was a surprising tough start for Justin Watlin. With it, Kevin Davis is going to get up and start warming for the Otters in the right field pen. And, it's nice to hear that Molly's one of the people who can be reached out to, and I think one of the things that probably people struggle with the most is if you're one of the people that's diagnosed at a young age, it's tough to be that, man, nobody at my age has to deal with this. And I think it speaks numbers to Molly wanting to be someone that people can go to as well. What kind of role has she looked to take within the organization of the Tri-State MS?
That's a good question. She's not necessarily a board member or anything like that, but she's very active. I think the biggest thing that she's done is basically been the co-organizer of the Strikeout MS approach that we've taken, helped to get that first tournament going. We were lucky. In addition to finding Debbie, Debbie was able to put her in touch with someone who I think is maybe 10 years or so older than her, but who had also been diagnosed in her teens. And that was a huge relief for Molly to talk to that person and see that she was doing well, was working, was a young mother with two beautiful children. So I think that set Molly's mind at ease that, this is going to be tough, and I'm going to have to work through it and deal with.
Ball gets down in front of Rosario. One run's going to score easily, and they're going to keep another one from going home. Tough play there for Rosario. Tried to dive at a ball, and an RBI double will add to the big lead for Florence.
Almost got that one. Yeah, but I think she's been that person now who, she's let Debbie know, hey, if there are other people that you talk to who are in my similar situation, I'm always here to talk to them. Let them know what I've experienced, maybe what they can expect, though MS is a tricky disease. It affects different people differently.
Back to the top of the order we've gone. Alberti Chavez at the plate now, 1 for 3, 2 men in scoring position, and it does seem like Kevin Davis would be ready to enter this game if Max Peterson decides that step is necessary. One of the things that stuck out, Spring gives one up the middle now. One base runner's coming home, a second one on the way. The plate's close, and he gets the plate. Tanksley somehow hangs on to the ball. My goodness, a wonderful throw from Baez, an even better play from Tanksley. That's an important out, number 2.
First baseman, 35, Brendan Price.
So one of the things that stuck out with me in my talk with Debbie was the ways that this organization's trying to reach out with people in the community. And, of course, they've got an event coming up, the Galehausen 2022 event, September 21st. People can participate in this shopping event and pay for a ticket to go in there. It seems as if it's not only going to be an opportunity for the private organization to raise money, but also a good opportunity here in the fall time to interact with some of the people in that organization.
Yeah, and Tri-State MS Association tries to find events like that throughout the year. I think pre-COVID, a little bit more active. Had an event that first year that Molly was diagnosed. We we participated in an event at Harrison where everybody basically who could and who wanted to took one lap together. This event that you're talking about is another opportunity for people to get together, to talk, to meet. Those are invaluable opportunities just to get together and just sort of be in communion and gain sort of energy from other people who are dealing with the same types of things.
Brendan Price still ahead in the count, 2-1. 2 outs, runner at first. Hefty swinging strike 2 evens things up. I mentioned earlier, tristatems.org is a place you can find a lot of information about this organization, but also your guys' Facebook page, that Strikeout MS, obviously a page that's going to take some more life once we get past a little more of the pandemic and you guys start planning for the next hopeful softball tournament.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we were trying to think, how could we wanted to do something this summer, and absent having the tournament, the Otters just seemed like a natural fit. Again, Molly was a softball player, but we love baseball as a family, and she grew up actually started playing baseball with her older brothers before she switched to softball. So as we started talking about it, we thought, let's see if we can partner with the Otters and generate some awareness and maybe a little bit of money that way. And it's a beautiful day. And tough outing so far for the Otters, but that's okay. It's game's not over.
3-2 payoff pitch to Price, lifted high in the infield. Craig's going to charge in. Tanksley's going to step out. And Craig will bring it in for the final outs. Do want to say a big thank you to coming on and giving us not only your guys' story, but a little more information about the Tri-State MS group. We will continue to kind of give some more information to our listeners throughout the day. Thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We head on to the bottom of the fifth. Right after this, Otters down by 7. Bottom of the fifth inning here on the Otters Digital Network. And it looks like we are actually going to pause things for a second as they're attending to one of the umpires. We'll take a pause here and let you know when we know more. We are in the bottom of the fifth inning, by the way. Florence leading 8-1. We'll be right back. And we welcome you back inside historic Bosse Field. Want to give you a little update as to why we have had a little bit of a pause. Our original home plate umpire tonight, Brad Wilson, needed to take a medical break due to the heat that has been here around in the day, and because of it, he has been excused from the remainder of this game. Mike O'Leary is going to take over behind home plate, and the one umpire in the field is going to be Preston Childers, just having to play with the cards that we've been dealt here. But we are glad that the right precautions are being taken to make sure everyone's going to be healthy and all right. We are still getting ready to play the bottom of the fifth inning. Evansville trails this one by 7. We'll play the rest of this one with a two-man umpire crew. So we're ready to continue things in the fifth. Tanner Craig, Brian Rosario, and Zack Biermann due up.
Third baseman 43, Tanner Craig.
Tanner Craig, 1 for 1 on the day with a single. He pushed to the opposite field back in the third inning. Unfortunately, though, he was left at second base later on in the inning. Former University of Evansville man, Tanner Craig, takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. And, of course, now I think the big change in this game is the strike zone has now changed a little bit. Obviously, you might have gotten used to where Brad Wilson was calling things in the first inning. That's instantly changed with a new man. Craig zooms one to third, and Flete, after misplaying it, will not have a second opportunity. And because of the hard hit ball, it will be ruled a single for Craig. Good for the second single of the day for the former University of Evansville man. And it's a leadoff man on for the first time today for Evansville. See what they can do with that. Heading back to the top of the order, Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game. Brian Rosario steps in, 0 for 1 for him. He'll be followed by Biermann, Davis, and Phillips. Wonder also what kind of this extra delay does potentially for the pitcher as well. Villalobos obviously took the last half inning off with his team batting, and now a little extra time taken. First pitch to Rosario stays high, ball 1. For as long as Villalobos stays in the game, Rosario will continue to bat as a righty. If we see a righty pitcher come in, then he'll obviously swap over to the other side of the plate. 1-0 home, stays low, and with it, Rosario takes a couple pitch lead. Again, now Mike O'Leary behind the plate. Preston Childers, the umpire in the outfield. A two-man crew going to see the rest of this game out. A 2-0 pitch makes its way home to Brian Rosario. Hit on the ground to the left side into the glove of Flete. To second for 1. The relay to first. In time. 5-4-3 on the double play. And just like that, the leadoff base hit taken away. So that'll bring up Biermann. Now with the bases empty and 2 outs. Not at all what the Otters envisioned he might have been coming back to. Want to take another look through the Frontier League scoreboard as we continue on through this bottom of the fifth inning. Ottawa up 10-4 against Empire State, bottom of the eighth. Ottawa closing in on a sweep there. Pitch finds the zone for a called strike on that outside edge. In the top of the eighth, Trois-Rivières up 10-3 against New Jersey. The loser of that game will be eliminated from playoff contention. Swinging strike 2 drops Biermann back. And in the 2 games that I'm sure you want to know about, Schaumburg hits a grand slam and is now well ahead of Gateway, 8-3 in favor of the Boomers there in Schaumburg. And then in Avon, Ohio, Washington got themselves out to a couple-run lead. Lake Erie comes cruising back. Crushers now up 3-2. They're in the bottom of the fourth. They're in Avon. Swinging strike 3 will quickly end the inning for Evansville. They get a leadoff base hit, but after no time at all, it's immediately erased, and we're on to the 6th inning. Otters still trail by 7. Evansville Otters Baseball on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports is presented by by Old National Bank. Your bank for Evansville, your bank for life. New pitcher on the mound for the Otters, Kevin Davis, the 6'9 righty out of Orland Park, will get the nod. Davis had a phenomenal road trip up there at Windy City and Joliet. Might have been because he had his family in attendance all 6 games as well, but it's good to see him really drive up his strikeout number. He's thrown in 7 appearances thus far, ERA just under 3.5, and he's got 23 strikeouts in just 10 innings. Due up in the 6th inning, Ray Zuberer, Axel Johnson, and Bryant Flette. Ray Zuberer getting set at the plate. Kevin Davis ready to fire home. First pitch on the way. Finds his zone for a called strike 1. Do want to officially close the book, by the way, on Tyler Spring, who I think pitched just about as well as he could in a tough situation. Gave up 3 runs on 5 hits in 3 full innings. Walked 3, and that's what really killed him. If it hadn't been for that tough double that was allowed in the 5th, he would have been able to zoom through probably with just a 1-run allowed situation. Been a tough day to be a Evansville pitcher. (0-2) for Ray Zuberer III. Davis kicks, delivers. Swinging, strike 3. Foul tipped into the glove of Tanksley. And it's a German American Bank strikeout for Kevin Davis. Axel Johnson making his way to the plate. 1 for 3, RBI single back in the 1st. First pitch home, high for ball 1. (1-0) to Axel Johnson. Pitch finds the zone and evens the count for Axel Johnson now. (1-1) for Axel Johnson. Base is empty, 1 out. Hits one on the ground towards Davis. He makes a nice play over. The throw to first in time for out number 2. First time Davis has really been pressured in this one. Bryant Flette making his way to the plate. 2 outs. Base is still empty. First pitch home from Kevin Davis. Called strike 1. Zoomed one there to the low outside corner. Davis was a mid to late season acquisition for this club out of USC Upstate. And in the games he's pitched, he's been pretty good in. 0-1. Another called strike.
Let's give Camden a big round of applause. Our guest PA this afternoon here at the ballpark. Coming for my job.
(0-2) to Bryant Flette. Stays low for ball 1 in the count. Came home at 92 mile an hour from Davis. The 1-2 home. Foul tipped into the glove for a swinging strike 3, and 2 of the 3 outs grabbed by Davis. German American Bank strikeouts. We're on our way to the bottom half of the 6th. Evansville trailing this one by 7. To the top of the 7th we go, and we're into the back third of this one, and still on the mounds for this Florence Y'alls squad. Niker Villalobos, he has been exceptional in this game so far. The only real flaw in his game was the solo home run he gave up to Elijah Mcnamee. Other than that, he has been a lot of fun to watch in this one, just working through the game effectively. J.R. Davis, Dakota Phillips, and Elijah Mcnamee, the 3 due up for the Otters in the 6th. J.R. Davis stepping in. So far on the day, 1 for 2, single and a flyout. He barrels one out towards left center field. Zuber chasing back at the warning track, and it's off the wall. Davis working in towards second. No one is right there, and Davis acts like he's going to grab the ball for him. Big smile on his face as he gets in there for a double.
Another hit on the day for J.R. Davis. Really spraying it around the field in terms of his hits here today, utilizing both sides of the outfield.
Well, last night his hit right back up the middle, so I mean, he's in a good place going into these last couple weeks, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think you're getting him maybe finding his groove at the right time. Of course, earlier in the middle part of the innings, Mcnamee getting a home run. That's good to see.
Phillips at the plate, Davis out there at second. With nobody out here in the bottom half of the 6th inning, Otters trying to do something in this ballgame. Pitch comes home. Phillips launches it very high, shallow to left center. Dropping back is Chavez, and he's the one who brings it in for out number 1. Elijah Mcnamee heading to the plate now. His last time up,
Right fielder,
he found
Elijah Mcnamee.
the area beyond the left field wall for a home run. Though it still wouldn't do a ton, the Otters could use another one, I guess.
Yeah, at this point, obviously the main focus is just getting base runners and hopefully put up a big crooked number.
Pitch to Mcnamee, zoomed out towards left. Davis is going to round third. There will be a play towards the plate. Looks good, and Davis gets in there.
That was a good throw. Right on line. And And look at hit the back of Javis as he was going in for the slide. But look at Mcnamee jumping on that early count pitch, and really a good pitch for him, obviously, right? Smack in the middle, good for most batters. But really sent it back quickly to left field. Good, solid hit.
Well, there's two ways to obviously approach these last couple innings. There's the approach of doing too much. We need to come back in this game and win it. There's also the let's act like this is a 0-0 game, just get good at bats, keep ourselves feeling good and ready for the game against Washington.
It's kind of interesting on that last play, too, with Florence. Obviously, you have the big lead. The even taking the chance, I guess, of making that throw home, like there's not really a huge benefit of trying it because obviously, maybe with just Miles Gordon instead of Mcnamee, he might be a third with that throw.
1-0 to Baez. He takes it for a called strike.
Or you risk making a back throw and an error. So that was kind of surprising the throw even went home, but it was a heck of a throw. And then on the other side, you're kind of taking a risk. If you're the Otters, of course, you're trying to get back into this game, but you don't want to run into an out at this point. You need base runners.
Baez swings low for strike 2. Yeah, because in the end they don't get the out. You could have had the man at first and potentially a double play ends the inning for you, but I guess there's a lot of different ways you can approach it. I like the Otters for being aggressive.
I do too,
there's
yes.
nothing to lose, so
I like the Otters being aggressive, and then I'm surprised that maybe Florence should just make that throw over to second to keep Mcnamee at first base.
Pitch works towards the low inside corner, and because of it, the count evens for Jeffrey Baez, 2-2. Be a good time for Baez to continue what's been a good couple of games for him. Had a double earlier in this ball game, but was stranded out there at second. Pitch stays high, and Baez will look at a full count offering now. Three-two count for Jeffrey Baez. Pitch on the way. Sent on the ground towards Chavez at short. Plays it into the glove. Throws over to first in time for out number 2, and Mcnamee will stay put at second. Another check-in on some people around the league. Schomburg's extended their lead to now 9-3 against Gateway. Washington's even their game at Lake Erie at 3-3. Obviously, the Otters have to be happy Gateway grabbed that win last night because now this loss would hurt a little bit less for Evansville if Schomburg were to also win today. Pitch home to Brody Tanksley. Out in front of it a little bit for a swinging strike 1. Mcnamee able to get himself a pretty good lead out there at second. Another guy keeping him close. Tanksley gets a little too far underneath it, sends it foul. And with it, his count drops back to 0-2. An 0-2 to the backstop, Brody Tanksley. Swinging strike 3, caught on a pitch high and inside for the third out of the inning. Elijah Mcnamee drives in a run with an RBI single, but the Otters' comeback attempt stops right there. We're on to the 7th inning right after this. And we are set for the top half of the 7th inning. Really, that 4-run first is what has made this game, I don't want to use the word impossible, but really difficult for Evansville to find any traction in. They've had to play the entire thing from behind, and every time it feels like they have positive momentum, they're still down 4, 5, or 6. So, it's a tough situation to be in. Still a couple chances to bat and try to come back in this one. Right now, you're looking for some solid pitching performances to at least keep it where it's at. It was a really quick inning of work for Kevin Davis his last time up, so he'll obviously look to keep that alive. First offering to hit home to Lady Almonte, a swinging strike 1.
And with the way these last few innings have gone, really, I know there's a 2-run spot there in the 5th, but overall, you have to be kind of pleased with your bullpen here today. Seeing Spring kind of take over first, now Davis.
Yeah, that's a tough situation for Tyler Spring to be asked to come in for.
Mm-hmm.
And he did struggle a little bit, gave up the 3 runs. That double down the left field line is what really broke the back, I think, for him. But, these are important outings for some of these bullpen guys at this point of the year. A swinging strike 3 is going to sit down Wady Almonte, the second straight strikeout for Kevin Davis.
That's a German American Bank strikeout.
Because, not only in the final week of the season, but also when you get to
16 Lyndon Weaver.
the playoff part of the season, you never know when you're going to be asked to potentially pitch 2-3 innings out of the bullpen. So this is a good opportunity for some of the bullpen arms to experience that and be ready.
Yeah, Kurt, as we all know, when you get to the postseason, your pitching depth is usually tested, so you want to make sure that you're well equipped with numerous arms out of the bullpen.
Because exactly the plan that you have for the postseason is not going to be what happens. I mean, you can plan, we're going to have this starter go this night, he's going to go 7 innings, and then our next 2 guys are going to finish it off. It's never going to go that way.
Exactly. Especially now, when you get to that point of the year, you're looking to bridge that gap, especially with the middle relief.
And really, that's been a tough situation for the Otters all year, is the games that they've needed a really tight middle relief, they've struggled in that aspect of the game. There's been different guys at different parts of the season, whether that's Jacob Bowles or even Polancic for a while. Tedesco had a good stretch there in late May. That there's been a couple guys out of the bullpen who have had stretches of really solid baseball, but of course, like baseball is, everyone's had their ebbs and flows as well. 1-2 in for a called strike 2. Davis gets that K-walk around the mound up there. He's got 3 straight strikeouts dating back to last half inning. That one, he just fooled the man Weaver. Cooper Edwards, the 9-hole hitter and catcher today. 1 for 2 in the game. Steps to the plate now. His first offering and a half-hearted swing from Edwards, foul tipped into the glove of Tanksley for strike 1. Another called strike. Davis takes another lead in the count. Oh, 2 for the backstop, Cooper Edwards. Foul tipped into the netting. Must be with the release of Kevin Davis, because every single batter has had a mistimed swing. Oh, 2 count once again for Cooper Edwards with 2 outs in the inning. Davis kicks and delivers. Swinging strike 3. And the big man, Kevin Davis, strikes out the side in the top half of the 7th. Time to stretch from Evansville. Otters coming back to the plate after this. Bottom half of the 7th inning here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. It's been all y'alls all day long. From the first inning on, we saw Florence put up 4 first-inning runs, and from there they have not looked back. I think Evansville's played a strong game if you look at the 2nd inning on. They've kept the game close in certain areas, had some good at-bats, but because of the struggles in that first inning, it's like they've been playing a couple steps back this entire game thus far. We're set to kick off the bottom of the 7th inning. Andy Armstrong, Tanner Craig, and Brian Rosario due up here in this half
Andy
inning.
Armstrong leading off for the Evansville Otters.
Armstrong's 0 for 2 so far in the day. A line out towards the shortstop Chavez, and also a ground out towards Chavez as well. That line out was hit really hard, but unfortunately in the wrong direction. Villalobos continues up on the bump for the Y'alls. Throws a first pitch strike to Armstrong. He looks like he hasn't thrown a single inning today. Very in control of where things are right now. Ball hit weakly back up to Villalobos. He plays into the glove and over to first for a first out here in the bottom half of the 7th inning on Andy Armstrong. That'll bring up Tanner Craig, the third baseman, who's 2 for 2 with a couple of singles. Unfortunately for Craig, grabbed a couple good singles, but he's been left on base in both times. New Jersey Jackals playing for their postseason lives. And as I say that, out number 3 gets recorded. Trois Rivières wins 11-3, and with it, New Jersey eliminated from playoff contention. They are the 2nd team in the East to see that fate. Ottawa also finished their game out, a 10-4 win against Empire State. A look at Schaumburg, Illinois. Boomers are up 9-3 on the Grizzlies. Hard hit ball by Craig is foul, and with it, his count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike. Another update from Avon, Ohio, where the Crushers and Wild Things are even at 3 runs apiece. Just a heads up, a Washington win and an Evansville loss today awards Washington the West Division crown. 1-1 pitch stays inside for a called strike on Craig. He checks back with the home plate umpire, Mike O'Leary, just to know exactly where that one was. Tri-City in New York about to throw out their first pitch. Ball hit sharply to the right side to the second baseman, Almonte. Misplayed. The throw to first, barely in time to get Tanner Craig. Almost had himself a 3-hit outing. We'll have to just settle with the 2 for right now. Back to the top of the order we go to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Brian Rosario. Rosario 0 for 2 in the game. A ground out to second and a ground into double play in that 5th inning following Craig's single. Rosario continues to bat as a righty, still facing the lefty Villalobos. First pitch in is a called strike on Rosario. Caught the inside edge, which seems open for business right now. Another pitch inside. This one too far inside, and with it, the count evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. On the opposite end of the zone, way outside, gets past the catcher Edwards. It won't end up mattering, however, with nobody on base. The count just advances to 2-1. Otters on the road for a 6-game road trip to end the season. Tuesday night at Washington. 6:05 first pitch here in Evansville. 7:05 local time there in the Eastern time zone of Washington, Pennsylvania. You can catch the game 100% free, audio only, here on the Otters Digital Network stream. Two home to Rosario. Pushed out towards the right side foul. Will end up out of this ballpark. And the count remains at 2 balls, 2 strikes. At least for right now, the Otters are in a position where they would host a playoff game. Even with their loss and potentially a Schaumburg win, they'd be even again in the West Division. Another foul ball into the netting keeps our count at 2-2. But at least right now, Evansville owns the tiebreaker against Schaumburg, so they would play that game here on Tuesday, September 6th. It would be a battle of the 2 seeds and 3 seed. 2-2 high will take our count to full for Brian Rosario. Certainly working hard in this at-bat. Full count pitch hit sharply to the left side, foul. Hangs down that left field line, but it was foul the whole way. And Rosario will have to try again. Yeah, the schedule kind of looks like this for Evansville. A 6:05 first pitch on Tuesday, 5:05 Wednesday, back to 6:05 for Thursday night's game. Then they make the trek to Northern Kentucky and Florence to face this Y'alls team for the final 3 games of the season. Resetting is Brian Rosario, called time and reset. 3-2 pitch home to him now. Misses on the inside for ball 4, and Rosario will have himself a 2-out walk. Second time he's reached first on a free pass. Had a hit by pitch earlier in the game. And now we will have a discussion for the whole infield of Florence. If you're wondering where Villalobos stands, he's thrown 105 pitches in this game, and they're going to go ahead and call it quits for his day. A rock-solid performance for Villalobos. We'll tell you more about his stat line and introduce you to the new man entering the game for Florence right after this on the Otters Digital Network. We remain in the bottom half of the 7th inning, and a new pitcher needed for the Florence Y'alls. Carl Craigie will get the nod out of the left field pin. A 6'1 lefty, hails from Austin, Texas. Has some solid speed and some good movement as well in his pitches. Call to the bullpen, presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It is Craigie on the mound, and Edwards behind the plate. Pitcher Catcher Battery, sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Getting our final couple of warm-up pitches in before we continue along. A 2-out walk from Brian Rosario is what sparked this change. Zack Biermann is the next man due up. Still a 6-run advantage for the Y'alls. Change in baseball for Craigie as we get set to continue this bottom of the 7th inning. 2 outs. Runner on first is Rosario. The hard hat of or hard bat of Zack Biermann heading to the plate. First pitch home to Zack Biermann, the first baseman. Manages to find the zone on the outside for strike one. Rosario happy to get himself a little bit of an extra lead over there at first. And the 0-1 heads home. Hefty swing from Biermann. Fails to make contact, and with it drops to an 0-2 count. Good crowd on hand for the final home game of the 2022 regular season. Good to see so many people out here supporting the Otters. Ball pushed out towards shallow right center, and it's going to drop in front of all of them for an opportunity, and Biermann's going to grab himself an extra base because nobody covered second. Just a heads-up play from Biermann. Grab himself a couple extra. Now the Otters have a couple men in scoring position with J.R. Davis heading to the plate. Certainly the guy you want coming up in an opportunity like this.
Second baseman to J.R. Davis.
If Davis can find a base hit, it's possible the Otters could score two, and this is a different looking ball game. Sure, they'd still be down 4, but certainly a new look at this one. J.R. Davis is 2 for 3 with a single, a double, and a fly out to center. First pitch home to Davis. Thought about going around, and it's a called strike. And judging by his body language, you could tell he knew it was a strike and wanted to go around earlier. Oh, 1 to Davis. Stays low, and with it the count evens. 1 ball, 1 strike. Also was a dog days of summer here at Bosse Field. A couple dogs in attendance. $2 hot dogs on sale as well. 1-1 to Davis. Stays inside, and he's got a lead in the count. 2 balls, 1 strike. Carl Craigie taking a second to reset on the bump. The 2-1 comes home, and they call a balk before the pitch comes home. So Rosario will score for free. Biermann will make his trek over to third, and the Otters get a free run. Immediately, that was called by Preston Childers, the umpire out there on the field. We're playing with just a 2-man crew right now after Brad Wilson was excused from the remainder of the game. Two-1 the count for J.R. Davis. A run's already scored here in the half inning. Davis zooms one out towards left. It's going to drop for extra bases. Biermann comes in easily. Davis making his way towards second. The throw in is going to be late. It's an RBI double for J.R. Davis. And the Otters are right back in this. Down by just 4 now. Putting together a nice 2-out rally with another big bat heading to the plate now.
Designated hitter 7, Dakota Phillips.
Eight 4 in favor of Florence. Otters trying to put together a strong push back into this game. Dakota Phillips at the plate now. 2 outs, runner at second is J.R. Davis. So far, Phillips is 0 for 3 on the day. Kind of due for one here. First pitch to Phillips. Grounds it to the right side, foul. And with it, he falls back in the count 0-1. So the count's at 0-1 for Dakota Phillips. J.R. Davis at second. 2 outs. Again, Phillips grounds one over to the right side. These pitchers making life hard on Phillips, making everything be low and away. Kind of difficult for him to locate that pitch and make good contact. The wind continues to absolutely whip through here out of the south. That flag has not had it easy out there in center field. 0-2 for Dakota Phillips with 2 outs and a man at second. He gets underneath one, puts it out towards the shortstop area. Chavez thinks he's underneath it, and indeed he is for out number 3. Otters strike for a couple of runs. It's now an 8-4 ball game in favor of Florence. 8th inning comes at you next. Top of the 8th inning, Kevin Davis set to remain in this game. But first, want to remind you that Evansville Otters baseball on the Otters Digital Network is presented by Bud Light. On to the 8th inning. And due up for this Florence squad are the top 3 of Luke Harper, Alberti Chavez, and Brennan Price. First pitch home. This is good for a called strike on that outside edge. Oh, 1 for Harper. Pitch stays just on the high side on the out as well. Counts now even for the designated hitter, Luke Harper. His offering. Missed on the low inside, and because of it, it's a 2-1 offering. Two one, outside ball 3. Davis had a competitive strike 1 and now has thrown 3 straight balls. Will try to redeem himself on the 3-1 pitch to Luke Harper. Swinging strike 2. Got him to chase high and away. Otters hit the road after this. A trip to Washington, Pennsylvania to face off with the Wild Things for a 3-game set, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then they're in Florence, Kentucky to face this Y'all squad for the final 3 games of the season. Pitch fouled off will keep us at 3-2, leading off this 8th inning. 3 balls, 2 strike to Luke Harper as the pitch is sent home. Inside for ball 4.
Shortstop, 7, Alberti Chavez.
Leadoff walk kicks off the 8th inning. That's the 4th time on base for Luke Harper on the day, proving he is the man for the leadoff spot job. And with that, Otters are going to get someone up to start throwing. Looks like it could be Augie Gallardo. Chavez starts off with ball 1. Take a quick lead in this count. He's reached twice today, once on a single, once on an RBI single. The 1-0 is sent high in the infield. Biermann's in to make the grab, and he does for out number 1. First baseman Brennan Price will make the walk to the plate now. Price so far 1 for 4. His opening at bat, though, he reached on a fielder's choice, came around to score as well. Then had a single back in the 4th inning, was stranded at second. First pitch home to Price. Taken for a called strike just underneath the elbows. Little bit of a lead over there at first for Luke Harper. Oh, 1. Stays low and evens our count at a ball and a strike. One for Brennan Price, man at first and 1 out. So there goes the runner towards second. The throw out is on the wrong side of second, and because of that, it'll be a stolen base for Luke Harper. Give you another look around the Frontier League. Of course, we already have our 2 final scores: Ottawa over Empire State and Trois-Rivières over New Jersey. But they're just outside of the Windy City of Chicago. Schaumburg leads Gateway 10-3 now in the bottom of the 6th. And Windy City trails at home to Joliet 4-0. They're in the bottom of the 5th. 2-1 to Price, and it is a called strike. Price kind of knew it right as it got there, but he should have taken a chance on it. Final game in the West Division today. In the bottom of the 7th inning, Lake Erie leads Washington 4-3. Crushers trying their hardest to help out this Otters squad. The 2-2 to Brendan Price. Really extends the arms for a swinging strike 3. Frustrated with that at bat. Good for the 6th German American Bank strikeout of the day for Kevin Davis.
Left fielder 5, Ray Zuberer III.
Ray Zuberer steps in. Owensboro native. Has a hit and 2 walks in this contest so far. Has hit an RBI single in the 2nd that brought in Luke Harper.
Don't run, Tyler.
First pitch to Ray Zuberer. Good for a called strike on the outside half of the plate. Otters pitchers have done a phenomenal job of getting themselves ahead in the count tonight, but unfortunately have not been able to turn that into lots of outs. Oh, 1 for Ray Zuberer. A half swing. He did go around far enough, so it's strike 2. Otters have just 2 offensive innings left in this one to try to keep coming back in this game. But step 1 is making sure you don't allow runs on the other side. An 0-2 pitch to Ray Zuber. He's on the way. Misses on the inside for ball one. Davison started working his way back towards the dugout. Thought he had gotten strike three. We'll have to try again now. Gallardo seems to be ready whenever out there in the right field pen. As a 1-2 comes home to Ray Zuberer. Again, misses to the low side of things. Our count is evened up at 2-2. Two balls, two strikes, two outs. Kevin Davis trying to end this eighth inning. He'll have to wait at least one more pitch as we head to a full count. Looks like the whole cavalry out at the Florence bullpen right now, but I haven't seen any of them throwing recently. A 3-2 offering to Ray Zuberer. Fouled back into the netting. He'll live to see another pitch. Three balls, two strikes, two outs to Ray Zuberer with a man at second. Kevin Davis trying to once again slam the door on the Yalls. A 3-2. Misses for ball four. And there are now runners at first and second with two outs.
Center fielder, 2, Axel Johnson.
It'll bring up Axel Johnson with the 2 men on and 2 men out. Johnson has 1 RBI hit in the game. Back in the first inning, an RBI single. First pitch to Johnson, swung on and missed for strike one. Runner out there at second is Harper. At first, Zuberer. Pitch comes home and it's swung on for strike two. And because of it, now once again, Davis has a chance to end the inning. An 0-2 is fouled back, and we remain. Davis already seems ready to go up on the bump. So he'll send home the 0-2 pitch, which stays low for ball one. And with it, everything resets once again. The 1-2 to the outside. Did he go around? Yes, he did. It's a strikeout. German American Bank strikeout for Kevin Davis. He now has 7 in this ball game. We move on to the bottom half of the 8th. This is Evansville Otters baseball, the Otters Digital Network, and Flow Sports. Into the bottom of the 8th we go, and with it a new pitcher enters the game for the Yalls. They will ask Cameron Farrer to enter this one. Farrer is a 5'11 righty out of Noblesville, Indiana. Went to St. Louis University. ERA nearing 6.0 in his now 18 appearances on the year. Over a strikeout and inning pitcher. This call to the bullpen presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It's Farrer on the mound. Edwards behind the plate. The pitcher catcher battery sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Due up in the half inning for Evansville, Elijah Mcnamee, Jeffrey Baez, and Brody Tanksley. Mcnamee set to kick us off here in the half inning, and why not? We take another look at the Play It Again Sports replay from earlier in this game when he blasted one out towards left to give Evansville their first run of the game. He followed it up in the 6th inning with an RBI single. He's currently responsible for 2 of the Otters' 4 runs. First offering to him here. High inside, ball 1. First time the Otters have seen a righty today, as both Villalobos and Craigie were lefties to kick things off, so now things change a little bit for Evansville. 1-0 to Mcnamee. Another pitch stays well high. Takes our count to 2-0. Two balls, no strike to Elijah Mcnamee. Zoom down the left field line. Is it fair? No, it's just foul. Inches foul down that left field line. Mcnamee thought for sure it was fair, but Mike O'Leary was quite confident with his foul call. So Mcnamee will make the run all the way, or the walk all the way back to the plate. Ready for a 2-1 opportunity next. Two balls, one strike to Elijah Mcnamee. Mcnamee fouls that one into the face mask of Edwards, so he'll take a second to reset, and with it, O'Leary will walk a new ball out to the pitcher, Cameron Farrer. One of the things this league does extremely well when it comes to their umpiring crews, whenever a catcher does take a really hard foul ball anywhere into the helmet face mask area, the umpires do a good job of giving them plenty of time to kind of reset things. Always go walk a new ball out to the pitcher as well. Allows everyone to just kind of reset after a play like that, especially the catcher who's just kind of had his cage rattle a little bit, literally and figuratively. 2-2 the count to Elijah Mcnamee. Nobody out, nobody on. Here kicking off the bottom half of the 8th inning. Pitch comes home, works high and in, and as he check swung, it went off the handle of the bat. And his count remains at 2-2. Otters have their league-wide off day tomorrow. Right back at it on Tuesday night. 2-2 to Mcnamee, fouled off yet again. We're back at Wild Things Park in Washington, Pennsylvania. and time called prior to our next pitch. We're even at 2-2 still. A 2-2 to Mcnamee. He pushes one out towards center. Johnson will work back towards the warning track, and a few steps shy of it will bring it in for out number 1. Long at bat for Mcnamee that he ends up on the unfortunate side of.
Center fielder, 33, Jeffrey Baez.
Jeffrey Baez making his way to the plate now. First offering to him is fouled off to the right side. Oh, 1 the count for Jeffrey Baez. With 1 out and nobody on in the bottom half of the 8th. Swinging strike 2 drops Baez back a couple now. A little bit of a wait for Cameron Fair to get reset. O2 stays outside, and with it, our count goes to 1-2. Baez so far in the day has himself the base hit in the 4th. It was a double, but he was stranded out there at second as nobody behind him could help bring him home. Augie Gallardo seems to be the one who's going to enter this game in the 9th for Evansville. The 2-2 to Baez. Hit sharply at the shortstop, and it's off of his glove. Out in towards center, and Baez will have himself an opportunity after the error. First error of the game for either side. Allows Baez to reach.
The catcher, 46, Brody Tanksley.
So Brody Tanksley will have a shot with 1 man out, 1 man on in the bottom of the 8th inning. Still a lot to do for Evansville, but working in the right direction certainly. First pitch to Tanksley. High inside, ball 1. There goes Baez out towards second. The throw out there is close, and Baez goes ramming into the second baseman. Now the throw gets out towards center, and because of it, Baez is going to get himself all the way to third. So a collision out there at second is the reason the ball gets out into center. And because of it, Baez does grab that extra base. Wouldn't be surprised if, or you would hate to see it be an error that allowed him to get the extra base. As it wasn't really an error, it was more just a unfortunate play. The 2-0 to Brody Tanksley, now with a man at third. He takes a called strike. Take the count to 2-1. 2-1, the count for Brody Tanksley. Misses on the outside. It'll be a throwing error from the catcher that allows Baez to reach. (3-1) to Tanksley. He drives one out towards right center. Johnson seems to be underneath it. He is for out number 2. Here comes Baez home. The throw's offline, and the Otters get a run on a sacrifice fly from Brody Tanksley. Tanksley avoids the golden sombrero with a sacrifice fly RBI. Just like that, Evansville pulls themselves a little bit closer in this one, still with work to do, however.
Shortstop, Andy Armstrong.
Now a 3-run deficit for the Otters. Andy Armstrong due up with the bases empty and 2 outs. Pitch to the plate, hit sharply to the left side, but foul. Man, if the Otters had every ball that they have almost hit fair right down one of the 2 lines stay fair, they would essentially be in a completely different situation than they are now. On 0-1, Armstrong hits it sharp into the gap, and the Otters get another base hit. Good piece of hitting there. One by one. It's got to be the mentality for the Otters now.
Third baseman, 43, Tanner Craig.
We're going to go check over there on Armstrong, but he's back in time. Interesting situation the Otters are trying to get themselves into here. Still with a 3-run deficit, but certainly not out of the question that they're trying to get themselves closer. Tanner Craig at the plate. Wind now blowing in very hard from right. Why you'll start hearing a little bit of wind on our mics as well. Hard change in direction from that wind. And for the first time today, a little bit of cool air. Hard hit ball by Craig out towards left. It's shallow, dropping back as Chavez. He brings it in for the 3rd out of the inning. Otters score 1. They still trail by 3. We head to the 9th inning now. Don't go anywhere. On to the 9th inning we go. Augie Gallardo gets the nod out of the right field bullpen. Evansville trying to make a run back into this game. Still have some work to do. You need Augie to come in and give you 3 outs. No other way about it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As I rejoin you once again, it's been a while. We've had some visitors up here in the press box who wanted to kind of listen into the man, the myth, the legend, Matthew Will, on his play-by-play call. So I obliged them, allowed them to listen in. But if Augie Gallardo can put together an inning like he did on Friday night, that's exactly what the Otters can hope for right now in this situation. You've chipped away. You've made a game here going toward the ninth inning. You need a clean inning from Gallardo, just like he did on Friday night.
Yeah, because if you can get him to just grab these three, you're going to a part of the lineup that could get you these runs you need. As you come back out in the ninth, you've got Rosario, Biermann, Davis, Phillips, Mcnamee. This is the part of the lineup you want up. First step, though, is you got to get through these three.
Leading off the ninth for Florence, the baseman Bryant Flete.
Bryant Flete, Wade Almonte, and Lyndon Weaver, the three due up for Florence here in the top half of the ninth inning. First pitch to Flete, taken for a first pitch strike.
It's a good start, getting that first pitch strike, which I feel like we've said a lot today, but it's not always been the case early in the game, especially with finishing these at-bats when you get the first pitch strike for the Otters.
Ball sent out towards the left side. Rosario with a long run working towards foul territory, but it stays foul anyway. One-two count for Bryant Flete. Pitch from Gallardo, sent down the third base line, foul. I don't remember a game that I've seen this many balls hit down the lines, just foul on both sides. Seems like it's happening almost nonstop. So Gallardo already seems to be ready up on the bump, looking in towards his catcher, Tanksley. And is ready to go with the 1-2 home. Stays too far inside and we'll have to try it again. The 2-2 is sent right back up the middle. It's off the back of Gallardo and caught by Davis. The throw to first is in time. A wonderful play from Davis to still find a way to get the out, but that one hit sharply off the shoulder of Gallardo. And immediately Mandy Flagg will run out to see how things are going over there. Actually looks like it got him in the elbow. Hit very hard right back up at him.
I'm sure he'll probably get a couple pitches to check it out, but great concentration on the back end of that with Davis having that ball kind of change direction on him and being able to glove it out of the air while on the run and still make an off-balance throw on target to get the out.
The bright side is there's smiles all around from Peterson, Flagg, McCauley. So it does seem as if everything is all right. Certainly good news for the Otters, is that's a pitcher that is hard to replace at a time like now. A couple warm-up pitches, and Gallardo says he's all good to continue. Now that one was hit right back up the middle at him. Didn't bounce anywhere, and then went into the air. Is that a pop-out for Davis then? Or does it become part of the playing surface once it hits Gallardo? Because they still threw over to first to make it official.
I mean, technically it didn't hit the ground, which is what I thought. Then I saw the throw to first, like, well.
At least from here, I didn't think it bounced on its way to him.
I mean, technically it's like a 1-4
pop out.
Yeah, I guess. Line out, pop out, whatever you want to call it.
The bright side is the Otters get the outs, and Gallardo is still able to keep going in this one. A 1-0. It's dropped down for a bunt, picked up by Gallardo, and by the time he gets to that ball, there is no chance at getting Wady Almonte. He was zooming out of the box.
Yeah, that was a really good bunt. Really softened the contact on the bunt attempt, where I would say the ball took a couple small hops before it finally just kind of died in the grass.
So with 1 out, now a man at first with Lyndon Weaver making his way to the plate. Ball hit off the glove now of Gallardo, picked up by Armstrong. They'll throw to first and get the out. My goodness. Gallardo just a magnet for the ball this afternoon.
He's got to think, you got to be kidding me.
Catcher 8, Cooper Edwards.
Runner will advance. But the fielder's choice gets Weaver on his way to first. So Cooper Edwards heads to the plate. 2 outs, runner at second. Right now would be the final hitter of the game for Florence. Otters trying to at least, first of all, get this final out of this inning and then see what the bats can do to try to come back in the bottom of the 9th inning. Still trail by 3 in this one. They've come storming back in these last few innings. When we had our long break, making sure everything was okay with our umpire, the Otters were down by a whole bunch, and even further on the hit column, they had just 1 run at the time on 3 hits. Now they've finally picked up some hits and runs. The 1-1 to Cooper Edwards, the catcher. He skies one out towards right. Mcnamee chasing in. Seems to be underneath it. Indeed he is. We head to the bottom of the 9th. Otters' last chance coming up, and they've got the top of the order. It's going to try to bring this one to an exciting finish. Bottom of the 9th, and the closer for the Florence Y'alls will enter the game. Joe Doherty, the 6'3" righty out of Valparaiso, Indiana. Home of the Beacons, looking to help Florence close this game out. Didn't really seem like this was going to be a game that would end up being a save situation, but lo and behold, here we are. Call to the bullpen presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Doherty on the mound. Edwards behind the plate. Pitcher catcher battery sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs. The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. We're called 812-475-9000. Rosario, Biermann, Davis, the 3 due up in the bottom of the 9th inning. The chance for Evansville to come back in this ball game. The Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Brian Rosario, will kick us off. He's batting from the left side now as he switched to becoming a lefty since the couple of pitching changes. He'll start us off before the lefty Zack Biermann and righty J.R. Davis follow.
Top of the order to you. As we go to the bottom.
Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Brian Rosario, walking in now.
Outfielder 13, Brian Rosario.
Rosario taking a second to get himself dug in. And finally, we are ready for bottom of the 9th baseball. Breeze continues to blow in from right field, not as heavy as it was a little while ago. First pitch to Rosario. Across the zone for a called strike 1. Caught the low inside quadrant. Oh-1 for the switch hitting Brian Rosario. He hits one hard over the second baseman, and no, it's caught. Almonte climbed the ladder and brought it down with him for out number 1.
On both sides today, a lot of good, hard-hit balls that had found well-positioned defensive players this afternoon. Although R.V. Guerrero in that last inning would say, yeah, unfortunately, I'm always in that same position. I can't really move, as he got hit twice on comebackers.
Zack Biermann now up with 1 out, nobody on, bottom of the 9th inning. First pitch to him, cranked out towards right. Weaver will chase back towards it, extends the hand, and makes a great catch on the run. And Biermann can just stand there with his hands on his knees and watch. He cannot believe it. This has been one of the best weeks of solid contact hitting for Zack Biermann all season long, but mixed by the conditions, whether it be weather, whether it be positioning, has just not been able to get balls to fall out there in the right field area.
Yeah, it's just not exactly it's hard to, I mean, obviously the wind's playing a little bit of a factor, but not exactly the true home run swing. I mean, it looked like he was really just trying to put that one toward the gap.
So down to their last out, J.R. Davis will head to the plate for Evansville. Davis is 3 for 4, 2 doubles and a single. First pitch works way inside and hits him. So J.R. Davis will head to first for free. Boy, would this be the perfect way to cap off what has been a successful week for Dakota Phillips.
Yeah, you just wish he had maybe at least one more base runner on in front of him, because this would be the spot.
A chance to at least bring Evansville to within 1 with solid hitting from him. The downside for him, wind now starting to pick up again, coming in from right. Big shift on, though. If he hits something to the left side, could fall. Only one infielder playing on the left side of second. First pitch to Phillips. Swinging strike 1, hefty cut. Oh, 1 for Phillips. He has a man on first, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th inning. Hefty swinging strike 2. The Otters are down to their last strike. 0-2 count for Phillips with 2 outs and a man on first in the form of J.R. Davis. The pitch comes home. Just misses inside for ball 1 in the count. What a different game this is if that first inning doesn't happen. If Watlin is able to grab his first 3 outs quickly, totally different ball game. One, 2 to Phillips. Way inside. Ball 2. J.R. Davis stands on first. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Otters running out of time. The 2-2 to Phillips. Swinging strike 3. The Y'alls are going to grab game 3 here on the road. A tough one for Evansville. They started off with that tough top of the first inning, and from there, Florence never looked back.
Yeah, it was a quick start for them, which we knew that's the kind of team they're capable of being. They just haven't done it enough times this season. And especially in that first inning, went top to bottom of the lineup, got contributions from everybody. I give credit for Evansville obviously chipping away, which is exactly the mindset to have when you face an early big deficit. It's just kind of chip away, don't try to get it all back at once. They did that. After initially having some issues with Yoniker early in the game, they were able to get him out of the game, get to the bullpen, have some success there. And give credit to Evansville's bullpen. They had to eat up some innings today, and I thought overall all the pitchers pitched in a positive, contributable way, doing a lot for this team. And now the travel day, if you will, even though it's technically an off day as well, comes up next, and obviously a big series on the road. But at least getting 2 out of 3, that's always the thing to do. But now you got a big week ahead to finish out the regular season.
Evansville fell behind early in this one, was playing catch-up. But from that 5th inning on, they did outscore Florence by a score of 4-0, and that's the positive momentum the squad needed moving into the road trip against Washington and then again this Florence team. Get the mindset right, get ready to launch into what's supposed to be a very important week of baseball as you're fighting for home positioning in the playoffs, and I mean also still fighting for a playoff spot as you're not guaranteed to be in quite yet.
Yeah, not just yet. Still some work to do. And obviously for Evansville's sake, they're hoping that they can take care of their own business, not to have to rely on outside help as much. But yeah, nothing guaranteed yet. Still in a pretty decent spot. But we do know that over the last few years, things can change quickly in the last week of the regular season in 1 week's time with 6 games. And Schaumburg and Gateway still have to play one more, a makeup game as well. So that could make things interesting come the end of that final.
Well, Lake Erie did get a 4-3 win against Washington. My goodness, the Crushers sweep the Wild Things at home and have put themselves in a place where they could be challenging for a playoff spot. The other game that really mattered for this division was Schaumburg and Gateway. The Boomers are up 10-6 now in the bottom of the 8th over Gateway. Grizzlies have to score at least 4 runs in that top of the 9th to keep themselves alive there. If Schaumburg wins, they will once again be level with Evansville and then have the chance to take over second on Monday nights when they will play their makeup game to get themselves even with everybody else or close to where everybody else needs to be. The one other game that you might want to keep an eye on as the day goes along, Sussex County and Quebec facing off. They're just about to start from Quebec. The Capitals have a chance to clinch their spot in the 2022 Frontier League playoffs. I want to say a huge thank you to anyone who's taken the time out of your Sunday to join us here on both the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Always a pleasure to bring you Evansville Otters baseball, even better when I get to have former Director of Communications, Preston Leinenbach on. Thanks for taking the time these past couple of days to come join us here in the booth.
Yeah, my full-time role may have ended at the end of July, but after investing a lot of time and effort over the past years and also this season, I wasn't going to just completely go away. I was in it for the long haul to see the results and on how this team and this year's going to play out, and I'll be still keeping an eye on how things play out this week and hopefully into the postseason. Always going to be rooting for these guys. It's a good group of guys. And one of the big positives and just unique experiences you can get when you work in a small organization like this is you do get to develop relationships with the players, with the team, and getting to know these guys this year and previous players over the last few years. It's always a unique experience and really a blessing because these guys have some great personalities. We had some of them that are just quirky as all get out and make it a lot of fun. So, we're rooting for them. We want them to see them do well and hopefully win the championship by the end of it.
Well, the Otters are certainly in a playoff spot. Right now, they are in a position that they're going to be able to play in this year's edition of the playoffs. Right now, the question is if they're going to be playing here, if they're going to be playing at Schaumburg, maybe Avon, and there's still some pieces to figure out. Those will be figured out in the next 7 days. A week from right now, we should have a pretty good idea of what those playoffs look like. It's going to be a very hectic stretch to the end. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your Sunday to listen to Evansville Otters baseball. From all of us here at the Evansville Otters, he's Preston Lineback. I'm Matthew Will saying so long and thank you for tuning in to Otters baseball from historic Bosse Field. We take back over Tuesday night at Wild Things Park in Washington, Pennsylvania with the rest of this season.